Welcome to the Happy Black Woman Podcast, where we're on a mission to empower women to transform their lives through personal development and entrepreneurship. We bring you all the information, inspiration, and motivation you need to create a life of happiness, success, and freedom. Now, please welcome your host, the Happy Black Woman herself, Rosetta Thurman.
Well, hello, ladies. This is Rosetta Thurman, founder of Happy Black Woman. And today's call is all about the 10 mindset secrets of successful Black women entrepreneurs. This is your free call as a member of my Happy Black Woman tribe. I am delighted that you are here with me today. If you are on the phone, welcome, welcome. I see so many of you from all over the country. And I want to shout out a few of the cities that are listening in, as well as check in with you on the webcast if you're listening in on your computer, on the webcast. Go ahead and type into the Q&A box your name and where you are listening in from. So let me see who is on the line. Actually, we have some international people here as well. We have Charlottesville, Virginia, New York City, Chicago, Los Angeles. I was just there this weekend. Had a great time in LA. St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands. We've got Jacksonville, Florida, Chester, Virginia, Texarkana, Texas, Dallas, Oakland, California, Cranford, New Jersey. I see Houston, Texas, Richmond, Virginia, Las Vegas, a lot of New York, a lot of Atlanta, some D.C. I got a few ladies here from Maryland, Haddon Heights, New Jersey, Charlotte, North Carolina. So many of you are jumping on and really getting what you need as it relates to some inspiration, information, and motivation to build your business this year. Not next year, but this year. I see some of you on the webcast, Stephanie from St. Louis, Talea from Minnesota, Danielle from Raleigh, North Carolina, Anita in London, Adrian from Arkansas, Melanie in Wisconsin, Kenya in Greensboro, North Carolina. Hello, ladies, and welcome to the call. I am really excited to be sharing these tips with you about how to shift your mindset. One of the things that I've learned over the past, 9 years since I launched my very first business, I've learned that you can learn all of the tactics, the marketing, the branding, the strategies in the world, but if you don't have the right mindset, you're not going to go anywhere. And I mean, you're not going to go anywhere. Like, you're going to be totally stuck and dead in the water. I have seen so many women experience this. Now, for those of you who don't know who I am, I want to give you a little introduction and then dive right into the mindset secrets that I want to share with you today. I am the founder of Happy Black Woman, as you may know, and what I do at Happy Black Woman is, our mission is to help Black women all over the world to create their ideal lives and businesses. And we do that through personal development, training, and business and entrepreneurship training. So it's the combination that really creates success, and that is directly based out of my own experience. I launched my first business in 2008. I quit my job in 2010, my nonprofit job, and I've been working for myself full-time ever since. And what I learned from my experience, and what a lot of people find interesting about my journey, is that I just really made a decision. Really, 2009 was what I call my year of liberation, where I started to make all these decisions based on what I wanted to do with my life, and it didn't matter what anyone else wanted me to do. So I really started making decisions for me. I really started making decisions based on my desires and not from my fears or from what everyone else was saying I should do. And so ever since I started doing that, my life expanded. My life has expanded so much. One of the first decisions that I made was to quit my job and work for myself full time. And to do that, I had to let go of some things. I let go of doing a PhD program because I realized I was doing it for the wrong reasons. I thought I needed validation. I thought I needed a title in front of my name. I thought I needed all this education to make me feel like I was enough. so that I could go out there and write a book and speak on stages and all these things. And really, I found out that everything that I needed was inside of me. And not to say anything's wrong with having a PhD or multiple degrees. I have, my master's degree and everything. Has it really helped me? Maybe, maybe not. When it comes to getting a job, definitely. When it comes to business, no. So I really learned how to make decisions based from my own desires, instead of based on other people's expectations. In 2009, I also decided to go natural, and I went from wearing my hair relaxed to wearing a teeny afro. And again, not because anything is wrong with relaxed hair, but because I wanted to wear my hair that way, and I had to overcome the mindset of feeling like people were going to judge me, men weren't going to like me, and really go for what I wanted to do, which was to wear my hair a certain way. I mean, there's so much that happens with our hair as Black women that it was a big decision. And I said, well, if I can quit my PhD program, if I can quit my job, if I can cut off all my hair and wear an afro, what else can I do? And what I found was something that is now my motto. The philosophy that I learned is what I base my entire company on. And that motto, that philosophy, is that you can do anything you want with your life and no one can stop you but you. You can do anything you want with your life and no one can stop you but you. So that is what I learned in this process. Once I got liberated and I realized that I'm grown, I am free, and I need to be operating from a place of freedom and liberation instead of fear and worrying about what everyone else would think. And that's when my life started to expand. That's when I started to travel and see the world and make my own money on my own terms and help other women in the process. So my first business that I started in 2008 was a nonprofit consulting business. I ran that for 5 years. I replaced my salary. I was doing pretty good. I was happy, excited. And then I started a blog called Diary of a Happy Black Woman, and it turned into this amazing community and business that I run today. We started out with doing little happy hours, and people were like, we want workshops. We want to learn how we can do what you did. And so that's where our events came into play. That's how our retreats came into play. That's how our online courses started being created. And what I do now is, Happy Black Woman full-time. The company has grown very quickly, since I started doing Happy Black Woman full-time in 2013. We went from zero to $1 million in revenue last year. So talk about fast growth. When I decided to focus on Happy Black Woman full-time, it only took me 3 years to get to $1 million in revenue from zero. And I say that not to brag, but I do say that to let you know, where I've come from. I've come from building, 2 businesses from zero. This is not my first business. This is not, my first rodeo over the last 9 years. But what I can say from that experience is that, again, I have learned and studied and mentored and coached with so many different leaders in different industries, and they've taught me a lot of great things. I've learned about internet marketing. I've learned about speaking. I've learned about doing launches and creating all these different sales processes. I've learned so much from so many. Yet, the biggest factor in my success has been my mindset. You can have a great tool. You can have all of Oprah Winfrey, multi-billionaire Black woman, Oprah Winfrey could give you her blueprint for her success. But if you don't have the right mindset, you're not going to do anything with it. You would let that $1 billion business blueprint sit on your shelf and gather dust because you don't have the right mindset. You don't believe in yourself enough to implement it. So that is what I mean when I say that mindset is the most important thing. You can have all the strategies in the world. You can sign up for all the free webinars and teach you all these different things about how to use Facebook and social media and blah, blah, blah. But are you letting it sit on your hard drive, or are you implementing the information? Are you going to listen to what I'm saying to you today and say, that was nice, that felt good, or are you going to do something with it? That's the difference between a woman who has just a great idea and a woman who has a great mindset. Okay? So that's just a little bit about me and my background and what I've done. One of the things that I'm very interested in these days is building a life and a business that you enjoy. I have done the grind. I've done the hustle. I know how to do it. I know how to get into gear when I need to. But I'm also very interested in how we can build a great lifestyle. If you're going to be an entrepreneur, if you're going to be a business owner, what's the point if you're just going to create another job for yourself? If you're just going to be working yourself to death, just like in, a 9 to 5. I'm very interested in helping women build businesses that allow for a very abundant lifestyle, abundant in terms of obviously making great money, but also having the time to do the things you want to do and not being all over the place all the time, never feeling like you're finished, always working late and working on the weekends and never enjoying your freedom, especially when you do quit your job. So, today's call is about what are the different mindset shifts that you will need to make along the way as you go from being a full-time employee to really working on your own as a successful Black woman entrepreneur. And I will tell you what it's not about. Your success as an entrepreneur is not about whether you have capital. A lot of people say, well, if I only had capital to start my business, I would be successful. And that is not true. Right now, someone could give you $100,000. Do you know how to spend it? Would you only put it in the business and not invest in yourself as a leader? Would that really get you anywhere without having the right mindset? For me, it's, I have not seen that to be true. I've seen women pour so much money into their businesses, but they did not do the right work, or they didn't do enough work on their mindset. And so they really blew opportunities because they were not ready. They weren't ready. And I want to make sure that you all are doing what you need to do to get ready. I'll tell you what else it's not about. It's not about whether your family or friends support you. Your success is not dependent on other people. Let me say that again. Your success is not dependent on other people. Anytime you find yourself blaming your lack of success on other people, your mom doesn't support you, your dad wasn't around, your husband doesn't get it, that's a sign that you need to work on your mindset. Because if you're thinking that your success is outside of you and other people are responsible for doing things that contribute to your success, then you've already lost the game, okay? Because you are the only one who can guarantee your success. You cannot put that responsibility on someone else because it's your dream, your vision, your goal, and no one else is going to work as hard for it as you would. So it has nothing to do with whether you have any capital or whether, you have support of your family and friends. What it definitely has to do with is who are you? Who have you chosen to be, rather? Who is the woman that you've chosen to be? And what do you believe about yourself? What do you believe about your ability to create success? And that is what it's about when I say you need to strengthen your mindset. You need to get to the point where you are being that woman who can be successful. When you are taking the actions of a woman who is successful. You cannot wait for something magical to happen. You have to start behaving like a successful Black woman entrepreneur. And if you're ready to take those actions, this call is for you. If you're just on the line because you just want to get a few nuggets of wisdom and just go back to doing what you were doing, this call is not for you. I don't get anything out of people listening to me. I don't speak just to hear my own voice. I don't. I speak and I share so that you can have a transformation in your life. If you're just going to keep coming on my free webinars, I can't stop you from doing that. But why? Why put yourself through that? If you're not committed to making a change in your life, you might as well just go watch TV right now. You might as well just go do something else. Like go look at Facebook, go look at Instagram, go watch what some other successful people are doing because you're not really going to do what it takes. And it's important to be honest with yourself about that. There's no shame in working a job and, doing what everyone else does if that's what you want to do. The only problem comes in when you don't want that life, when you know that you're not meant for that normal life, when you want an amazing life, an extraordinary life. but you're not willing to do what it takes. That's where the problem comes in. And you just have to know, who are you? Are you on this call trying to figure out if you're that kind of person who wants to live an extraordinary life? Or do you know without a doubt that you're meant for more and that you deserve more and you're willing to do what it takes to get more in your life? If you're that person, this call is for you. If you're not, then I would recommend that you don't waste your time listening to calls like this, because you know you're not going to do the work. You're just going to be disappointed because you're going to keep procrastinating. But if you're committed to building your mindset, this call is for you. So you may want to take some notes, because I want to let you know that I do everything step by step. So I'm just going to go in order, 1 to 10. I'm not saying order. They're not really like in order of importance, but I just want you to be able to write them down. So what is the mindset secrets of successful Black women entrepreneurs? And these are from things that I've learned, colleagues that I've worked with, lessons that I've learned from them, and also my clients who have become successful as well. These are a few of the mindset shifts that we've all had to make to experience success on our own terms. So number one mindset secret of successful Black women entrepreneurs. Number one, they put themselves in the game. They put themselves in the game. And what I mean by that is, you cannot win if you don't put yourself in the game. If you think of any sport, let's take basketball, since it's March Madness. Take basketball, if you just sat on the sidelines, if the players just sat on the sidelines and they never got off the bench and dribbled the ball and shot the basketball into the net, they would never make any points and they would never win the game. And the problem with so many Black women entrepreneurs, or, they want to be entrepreneurs, they want to be in business, they want to be successful, is they never put themselves in the game. They never put themselves in a position to win because they're so afraid of losing. So they never put themselves out there. They never put themselves in a position where people can tell them yes or no in terms of buying something, because they're so scared of losing. So they just sit on the bench, sit on the sidelines, watch everybody else, what they're doing, and get upset and jealous because other people are doing what they know that they are meant to do. And you know who you are because you feel some kind of way when you see your colleagues getting speaking engagements and getting featured in newspapers and media and TV and making money, going on, trips around the world, traveling, doing fun things with their family, going to Disney and all those other things. And you say, I can do what she's doing, but you're not doing it. So you have resentment. And so all you have to do, if you want to avoid that, is put yourself in the game. Stop sitting on the sidelines. Number 2, they're not waiting to be rescued. They're not waiting to be rescued. So, if you want to be successful in business as a Black woman, you cannot wait to be rescued. You cannot wait for someone to come along, whether it's a mentor or a coach or even a man, to rescue you and really do your work for you. There is no easy button for this lifestyle. There's no shortcut. There's no get rich quick. If it seems too good to be true, then it is. I teach a process called 5 Steps to Launch Your Business. And we have a live event coming up April 7th in New Orleans. People always say, well, I don't have time to go to this event. And I say, well, what else would you do instead? Like, if you haven't launched your business yet, what are you waiting for? Are you waiting for someone to come and give you like some business in a box? Like, give you all the products and the marketing and the website and just like hand it all over to you? You don't have to do any work. Like, that is called you're waiting to be rescued. You're waiting for someone to give you all the answers so you don't have to do it. You're waiting, a lot of women, they're waiting for their husband to come so they don't, in very specific terms, they're waiting for a rich husband to come so they don't have to work. That might not be you, but if you have a mindset block around waiting to be rescued, if you're always looking for someone outside of yourself to fix everything, to, give you the blueprint to your business, to, give you the money that you need, to take care of your bills so you can quit your job. Like, that philosophy does not work. to be successful, you can't be sitting there waiting to be rescued. And some women don't even know that's what they're waiting for. They just know that they're waiting. And you may call it something else. But ultimately, many women entrepreneurs who try to be successful and they're not, it's because they have not realized that they are their own hero. You are your own hero. There's no other person who's going to come with a Superman cape and save you. You are the only one who can save yourself. And you can do that right now simply with a shift in your mindset by, committing to the idea, believing the idea that I am my own hero. Number 3, they take risks. Every successful Black woman in business has taken risks. Risks that the normal person would think is crazy. Why would you do that? Why would you move, to this place? Why would you do this thing? Why would you invest this money? Why would you put yourself out there like that? I would never do that. Are you crazy? And the thing is, every successful person, every millionaire, billionaire, multi-six-figure business owner has been called crazy. So I know that if you're on this line and you consider yourself to be normal, this call is not for you. This is not for you at all. Like nothing that I do or teach my clients is normal. Like you're going to have a moment with me where you're going to be like, did she really just tell me to do that? Because you can't do normal things and get an extraordinary lifestyle. Likewise, if you want an extraordinary lifestyle, if you want an amazing life, you want a life of adventure, of travel, of freedom, doing whatever you want, making great money, you're not going to be able to do that by following the norm, following the crowd, being status quo. You've got to understand that to have an abundant life, you've got to do things very differently than normal people do them. And so many of you listening that you have it within you and you're ready and it actually excites you. You're excited by the opportunity of really being who you are anyway. Like this is who you are anyway. And it should really excite you to know that who you are at your core, like who you are authentically is who you need to be successful. You cannot hide. You cannot play small. You cannot try to be like everybody else. You cannot go and copy so-and-so's website because she looks successful. You can't go and, emulate this other person because she's been successful. You have to be you and take risks. You have to take risks. And when I say risk, I don't mean that you do this and your whole life could be ruined. A lot of people, that's how they look at risk. Normal people look at risk that way. Oh, if I put my website out there, or if I apply to be a speaker at this event, or, if I spend money on a coach, that's it. If it doesn't work, then I'm a failure. And that is not true. As an entrepreneur, as you start out, you're going to take many, 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 many risks in your life. Some are going to work out, some are not. That is the essence of being an entrepreneur. You cannot be successful and not take risks. Oprah has taken risks. Beyonce has taken risks. There are things that they have done, every successful business owner, that they didn't know how it was going to turn out. They didn't know what was going to happen, but they were willing to find out. They were willing to find out. And because they took those risks, they saw the rewards, right? So you have to take risks and really stop thinking that every risk that you take, every new thing you do outside of your comfort zone is a make or break you. It's a life or death situation. It's not. The only thing that's life and death is life and death. Stop going out there thinking that if you put a video on Facebook, you're going to die, because that's not how death works. Okay? You really have to start understanding what risks are necessary for your success. How can you say you want to make $100,000? A lot of my clients say they want to make $100,000. So my clients want to be millionaires. How can you say that you want that, but you're not willing to take risks? Do you really think you can get to that level of success without taking any risks? If you think that, then you're delusional. Truly, you're living in a fantasy world. And as a happy Black woman, I do my best to be encouraging and uplifting and positive, but I'm not going to sit here and sell you a dream. I'm not going to sit here and sell you something that's not true. Like, it's smoke and mirrors. It's just a fantasy. I'm not going to sell you that. I'm going to tell you that, yes, you can have anything you want. Yes, you're going to have to work for it. Yes, you're going to have to take risks. But you know what? It's all worth it, because think about it. You're going to work hard anyway. If you work for someone else, you're going to work hard. You're going to have to do what they tell you to do, and you're going to have to do it well, or else you get fired. And why not work as hard for yourself? When I first started my first business, I worked my job full time for 2 years. And what did I have to do? I had to get up early and write my blog posts. I had to stay up late and put together proposals for clients. I had to take all my vacation time and use it to go and meet with potential clients and go speaking around the country. I had to manage my time very well. I didn't have any mentors, when I first started. I just had to figure this out on my own. And what I realized was that every time I took a risk, it paid off. It paid off either in, the results that I wanted, or in a lesson that I learned. An experience is worth so much more than you think, right? All right, number four mindset secret of successful Black women entrepreneurs is they don't spend, they invest. They don't spend, they invest. What does that mean? When you think of money that you are putting into your business, it's not that you're spending money on your website, or you're spending money to go to this business training, or you're spending money to attend this networking event. You are investing in your business, in your future, in yourself. As long as you have a mindset of spending, you're not going to spend very much. But if you have a mindset of investing, you understand that every dollar you put into your business is going to reap benefits, if not immediately, down the line. Okay? So I always had a mindset of investing in myself, even when I was an employee. Every conference that came up that I wanted to go to, my job didn't pay for it. I paid for a lot of my own professional development. And I was so surprised that most people didn't have that philosophy. Like, if you want to get a better job, you're going to have to develop yourself, and your boss is not going to do that for you. They're not going to say, hey, let me give you all this knowledge and wisdom and training so you can leave here and go to a better place. They're not going to do that. Same thing in your business. Like, if your goal is to quit your job at some point and run your business full time, you can't really depend on other people to pay for your training or your coaching or your mentoring or your learning. That has to come from your pocket. And when I say your pocket, I don't always mean that you have to have the cash. Most business owners have some type of credit card, or they get loans to really invest in themselves, because you're going to need a bunch of different things as you build your business. You're going to need technology. You're going to need training. You're going to need mentoring. You're going to need inventory, depending on what your business is all about. So you cannot be afraid to spend money if you want to be a successful entrepreneur. I ask people all the time, I say, well, when I work with clients, I say, what's your revenue goal? What do you want your business to earn in a year? And they say, oh, I want $100,000. And I say, how much money do you think you'll have to invest to get that? And they're like, oh, well, I'm not making any money yet, so how can I invest? And I said, well, it's a chicken or the egg. Like, it's a catch-22. Like, however you want to look at it, you're going to have to put some money out there to build your business. You're going to have to purchase business cards. Like, that's what I mean by, are you ready for what this entails? It's not difficult. It's just a matter of a commitment. The biggest challenge for entrepreneurs who are just starting out is lack of commitment. There are more people who want to start a business, who say they want to start a business, than those who actually start. And it's because they haven't fully committed to that process, to that vision. And when you do, everything else starts to fall into place. If you're committed to success and you're committed to having a certain lifestyle, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter how much it costs for you to get the right support and training, technology, things like that. But if you're not fully committed, everything's going to seem like, oh, this is so expensive. And you're not thinking about, you pay $20 for some business cards. You give that card to the right one person, and that is, thousands of dollars in revenue for your business. That's what I need you to understand, right? So when you have the right mindset, you don't spend. You're never spending anything. I never spend money for my business. I invest. And I do that for my business and myself. Okay? Number 5 is related. Number 5, they believe in themselves and their worth. They believe in themselves and their worth. You really, before anyone else can believe in you as an entrepreneur, you have to believe in yourself and your ideas, your vision. And you have to believe in your worth, that you're worth someone giving you their credit card for, thousands of dollars. You're worth someone purchasing your products and services. You have to really believe that first before you go out there in the world and be like, hey, I'm open for business. And you haven't really addressed the mindset shift that needs to take place around your worth. And most women that I work with, they don't really have an awareness of this at first. Like, they don't know what their sense of self-worth really is. They just know that at some point they start having trouble making sales in their business because they're afraid to tell people how much they charge, or they discount their services, and they don't understand why that keeps happening. And it really goes back to your sense of self-worth. What is your level of self-esteem that you have right now? Do you believe in yourself, or do you doubt yourself a lot? Or, do you really think that there are other people out there that are better qualified than you, and you just really don't want to disappoint anyone, so you don't want to charge too much money? That is a sign that you don't believe in yourself enough. And that's something that can be addressed, but you have to be honest about it. So when it comes to your belief in yourself, what I've seen happen so many times is that women get disconnected. Black women, we get disconnected from ourselves. And when that happens, it's hard to believe in us because you haven't spent a lot of time with yourself in a while. You haven't connected with how amazing you are and how powerful you are and the value of your services. And that happens when we get disconnected. We get disconnected for a lot of reasons because we haven't taken time to ourselves, to meditate, to pray, to be alone. We do need solitude in this journey so we can hear the voice of spirit reminding us that, yes, you are worth it. Yes, you were given these talents and skills and gifts for a reason. But if you're always filling your life with so much stuff and drama and negative people, then you cannot be with yourself in the way that you need to. And you start to forget how valuable you are. And that seeps into your business. That affects how you interact with your clients and how you show up in the world. Number 6, they walk their talk. They walk their talk. What do I mean by that? It's really, they practice what they preach. Successful Black women in business are not perfect. Nobody's perfect. That's not even anything that I would recommend anybody aspire to. If you try to be perfect, you're going to be living the rest of your life in unhappiness because it's not anything to aspire to. Perfection is not an aspiration. You want to be you as you were created. And so when you walk your talk, you are really practicing what you preach and inspiring people by how you live your life. So as an example, I teach about creating your ideal life. I would be very much out of integrity if I was teaching Black women how to create their ideal life and I'm not living my ideal life, on some level. Are we ever going to have everything that we want? Maybe, but you can be with where you are and be authentic with that as long as you walk your talk, that you're not asking your clients to do something that you haven't done. So I've seen this show up so many times with, like if you want to be a health coach or mentor, and you want to help women lose weight, but you really haven't done what you're teaching them to do in terms of losing weight. So when there's incongruency, your business does not take off. Women who, they want to help others with their relationships, but their relationship is in shambles. Like, get your relationship right first before you start, teaching it, right? Is your relationship going to be perfect? No, but you want to be in a space of integrity where you're telling your clients to do things that you have done that have worked for you, and you're not saying one thing and doing another thing. That's the importance of walking your talk. I came up with this because I learned from one of my mentors, Valerie Burton. I took her coach training years ago, and when we were doing the training over the weekend, someone asked her, what's the best way to attract clients? How do we get clients to come to us? And she said something that was so profound and so simple. It's one of the things that I got out of the whole training where I paid $1,000, and I got this one nugget that stayed with me for years. She said the best way that you can attract clients to you is to walk your talk, to be an example, to show them what's possible, to live your life in a way that people are attracted to you. They will know what you're doing. A lot of people know, who follow me for a long time, they know that I don't consider myself to be religious, but I'm very spiritual. And I remember, I used to be very religious, and I remember, being taught that you should proclaim the gospel everywhere you go and all these different things. And then, I also read that if you live your life, if you let your light so shine, people will be able to see it and know that you have spirit within you. You don't have to go out there. My philosophy was that, why do I have to go around telling everybody who I believe in and what I believe? Like, yeah, I can do that, but wouldn't it be better to show them? So that's always been my philosophy. So I'm definitely more spiritual now, and I still have that same philosophy that you don't need to push your beliefs down anybody's throat. I don't need to go around telling people they should be happy Black women. Why are you looking so mad? I don't do that. What I do is I just live my life in a way that inspires other people to be happy, to prioritize their happiness, to do what you want to do, and model that in my own life, even when it's scary. I started traveling years ago by myself because most of my friends, they worked full-time jobs. They couldn't come with me to Hawaii, to Thailand, to Paris, to Greece, all the different places that I've gone. But I did it anyway. And so many women wrote me saying, wow, because of you, I booked my first trip to Barcelona, or I, booked my dream trip to Africa, or, all these things I was afraid to do, but seeing you do it gave me that courage. And again, I'm not saying it's to brag or to try to be like I'm important or whatever, but what I'm saying is that when you live your life in such a way that inspires other people, you can have a bigger difference than if you just told people what to do. Nobody wants to be told what to do. They want to be shown. They want you to show them what's possible. Not just to teach them how to eat healthy, but show them how you lost, 50 pounds eating healthy. You get yours first, okay? And then you can teach other people. In the business training industry, there's so many crazy things happening where people are teaching other people how to build businesses. And I know for a fact that they are living with their parents, living with a man that they don't want to be with because they can't afford to move out. They still work a full-time job, and yet they're posting all these pictures about how, great businesses and all these things. And there's no judgment around it. I feel compassion because they haven't learned, because it's a skill. You have to learn how to be with where you are and walk your talk no matter where you are, and not try to fake it till you make it, fake the funk, however you want to say it, because that is not going to get you to where you want to be. It might give you a few quick wins here and there, but it's going to feel wrong, and you're going to eventually, you're not going to be able to take it anymore, and you may have a breakdown. I've seen that happen to people. They'll disappear for a while, and then they'll completely get off social media, and because it catches up to you, and that's not what I want for you. So just walk your talk. if you're telling your clients that, they should have a coach, they should hire you as a coach, but you don't have your own coach, that is really incongruent. That's really out of integrity, because you cannot tell someone how great something is if you've never experienced it yourself. It's like me saying, I don't exercise, like I don't go to the gym. I like to walk, but I'm really not a big fan of exercise. That's like me saying, yeah, you should go to the gym 7 days a week so you can be healthy and a happy Black woman, knowing that I don't step foot on that treadmill but a few times a year. Like, I'm not going to do that. I'll tell you that you should drink green smoothies, because I drink green smoothies and they make me feel really good. But you see what I'm saying? Like you really need to understand that everything that you're doing in your own life affects your business. And that's why Oprah is so popular. I use her as an example a lot because everybody knows who she is. But if you look at Oprah's life and you look at her business, they're very congruent. She's a spiritual person. She incorporates that into her business. She is about healthy lifestyle and really connecting with who you are, your purpose, and that's reflected in her business and how she does things. But you cannot build a business on something that you don't actually do in your own life. Like, you don't need your brand to be so different than who you really are. Okay? All right. Number 7, they say yes to their desires. They say yes to their desires. There's no way you can be successful as a Black woman in business if you're always telling yourself no. No, I can't do that. No, I can't have that. Maybe when I get rich like Oprah, I could do that. Or maybe when the kids move out of the house. Like, that's so boring. Like, the word no is so boring to me. It's so boring. Like, if you live your life from a place of no, when do you ever get to experience adventure and abundance? Like, if everything is no, then, like, when do you get to really experience what you want? Like, when do you get to have what you want? I said that I don't think like a normal person, and my clients don't. Like, we are like this community of Black women who people have just told that you can't do that. Why are you doing that? And if you watch us for a few years, you'll see that now people are asking us, how did you do that? People told me not to name my company Happy Black Woman, but I wanted to do that. And I made it happen. Like, I built a brand around what I was doing in my own life, becoming a happy Black woman. I was really writing and sharing and teaching about how I did what I did, how I started a business, how I quit my job, how I started to attract abundance into my life, how I sought out adventure and seeing the world and all those things that people told me were not possible. People asked, why did you move to Hawaii? Why are you doing this? How are you doing that? I don't ask questions like that. I don't ask, should I do this? I say, well, do I want to do this? And then I ask myself, well, how can I do that? And it's a big lesson that people get from my training. So I'll give it to you today. And that is, whenever there's something that you want, really resist the urge to tell yourself no. We have been conditioned as Black women to not get what we want and to be okay with it. To say that, well, you're Black and you're a woman, so you have to work twice as hard as everybody else. So be lucky when you get that promotion. Feel lucky when you get that opportunity. Feel lucky when you get that man. Because some of the other women could have gotten that good man. We're taught this culture of scarcity and be grateful for whatever you have, even if it's scraps from the table. I don't want the scraps. I want my full plate and sit at the table, and I want a glass of wine to go along with it. And when you think like that about yourself, when you know that you're worth that, you start to change how you connect with yourself. You start to change your language and your conversations that you have with yourself. You stop saying, well, I'll wait until I lose 20 pounds to buy that beautiful dress. You'll stop saying things like, well, I'll wait until I hear the next sermon from the pastor to find out if I should start dating again. Like, you stop looking for things that are outside of you and you just say yes to your desire as it comes up. I have a desire for travel. I have a desire for financial abundance. I have a desire for love and romance. I have a desire for making a difference in the world. They all coexist within me, and I say yes to all of it. I don't say, well, if I want to make a difference in the world, I can't make great money. I don't say to myself, well, if I want to be successful in business, I can't have a man because he's not going to like that. He's going to get intimidated. I accept and pursue all of the desires that I have. I don't crush any of them because I believe that I can't have it all. So successful Black women entrepreneurs that I know, they say yes to their desires. They want to buy a house. They go and figure out how they can buy a house, their dream house, not the house that they think they can have, but the house that they really want. And they start working towards that goal. They want to travel. They figure out where they want to go. They figure out how much it's going to cost, and they start working towards that goal. They want to go learn from someone. They will find out how much the ticket is. And for me, I buy my tickets first, and then I get my flight later. Like I just don't tell myself no for anything. Why? Because I'm grown. And when you tell yourself no for things, you're kind of going back into that little girl mentality and scarcity that you may have been taught when you're growing up. I know that I, was taught that, you can't have certain things because it's too expensive. And I realized I don't have to carry that into my life as an adult. I'm grown. You're grown. You can do whatever you want. So don't tell me that you can't, because it's not that you can't. That's not the reality. The reality is that you're not allowing yourself to create that. Okay. All right. Number 8, they're willing to do whatever it takes. They're willing to do whatever it takes. This really follows from the last one. If you're saying yes to your desires, you have to be willing to do what it takes to get those desires. They're not just going to come to you, just drift through your window, because you had a dream about it. It takes an action plan that you're willing to follow. So if you're willing to do whatever it takes, then that means all of your desires and dreams and goals are attainable. If you have conditions, like if your goals are conditional, then you're not going to get what you want. When you're willing to do whatever it takes, your goals are unconditional, right? All my goals are unconditional. It's not a matter of if I could make $1 million. That was never a question for me. It was just a matter of when it was going to happen. And to be honest, I thought it would take longer. Like I thought it would take, maybe 5 to 7 years to reach $1 million in revenue. But I was willing to go. I was willing to be in it for that long. Like it's not a long time, 5 to 7 years. In your job, you get those incremental raises. If I had to wait 5 to 7 years for $1 million in revenue in my business, that's fine. It was a goal that I had, and I was willing to do whatever it took to get there in terms of learning what I needed to learn, investing in what I needed to invest. And I have invested heavily into myself and into my business because I'm worth it, right? When you believe that you're worth it, you're willing to do whatever it takes. You're willing to spend the time that it takes and the money that it takes. But in the beginning, it's mostly time. You have more time than money, so you're spending a lot of time building your business. And if you're willing to do that, then you will be very successful very quickly. So I always ask people, when they say, I have this goal, I want to do this, I say, well, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to ask you the same thing right now. On a scale of 1 to 10, how committed are you to being a successful entrepreneur? How committed are you to getting the things that you want? To, quitting your job, replacing your salary, having a beautiful home, having a beautiful life, donating to the causes that you want to donate to, building a school in Kenya or whatever what you want to do, putting your child in private school, paying for their college right out front before they get to college age. Like all of us have different goals. On a scale of 1 to 10, though, how committed are you to that? Like, is it just a wish or is it really a goal? Like, are you committed to it or is it just a dream? Like, well, that would be nice someday if I met a rich man and he paid off my student loans. That would be great. But I'm not personally committed to paying them off myself. And just be honest with yourself about that. I've asked this question to many different women, and most people, they want to be a 10. You want to be a 10 because it sounds good to be a 10. But when you really get down to it and you look at what you're willing to do, how you're willing to spend your time, like people have told me, I want to make $100,000. I want to quit my job. I haven't made any money in my business yet. I want to do that, and I want to still be able to watch TV and not invest any money, and also not have a website and not put myself out there. Just show me how to do it without having to do all that other stuff. And I'm like, you are at a 5 commitment level. Like I haven't heard any commitment from you, really. Like you're at most a 5. Can you get to a 10 from a 5? Sure. And that requires you to start shifting your mindset and really start implementing these concepts into your life, putting yourself in the game. Stop waiting to be rescued. Starting to take risks, spending. Instead of spending, you start investing. You start believing in yourself more. You start walking your talk, saying yes to yourself, and really getting to the place where you can start seeing results, right? So if you can't say that you're a 10, then yeah, you do need to work on your mindset, and you will start getting closer to that 10 level of commitment. And those are the women that I love working with, because when you talk to a 5 or a 6 or a 7 even, I tell people to do something, like I'll tell you to go and set up your website, and they'll be like, I didn't know I was going to have to do that. And it's like, well, how many millionaire businesses do you know, like $1 million businesses do you know that don't have a website? Your actions have to match your goal. So you have to be willing to do whatever it takes. Number 9, they connect with a bigger purpose. They connect with a bigger purpose. And that purpose is just something that's bigger than you. Like, my business is not just about this is not the Rosetta show, okay? It's really about empowering other people. I have a bigger purpose for everything that I do. If it was just about, having a business and making money to replace my job, that wouldn't be very exciting for me. And it wouldn't help me go the distance in my business. When you have a bigger purpose that you're working towards, that's going to impact other people. Maybe if you have a vision that's big enough to include your family, or big enough to include your community, or big enough to include all the women who are going to come after you and read articles about you when they're writing their book reports or whatever in school, and they're going to be like, yeah, I'm doing a report on Rosetta Thurman, and she started this company, and she impacted all these women. And when she died, there were all these foundations that were started in her honor, and got to support girls, and she donated to Girl Scouts, and there was a scholarship created in her honor. Like, all the things that I might want to leave behind as a legacy, that's my bigger purpose. And every wealthy, Black woman in business that I've met and I've read about and I've connected with has a bigger purpose. Oprah has built her academy in Africa, and a lot of women give back in many different ways. A lot of women, they really build an amazing life for their children. They take a stand for a specific cause. They use their platform when they receive, awards on TV to really call attention to what's going on in the world. You are not doing this just for you, by the way. If you didn't know, this is not all about you. Like, your business is not about you. You were given skills and talents and gifts to impact other people. And in order to do that, you've got to connect with that. I started speaking not because I wanted to hear myself talk. I'm an extreme introvert. For those of you that don't know, like, I am not an extroverted person by any means. But I learned early on that if I wanted my message to reach a lot of people, I had to start speaking. I had to get in front of people. I had to get over my fear and just do it, So that the only reason I was able to do that and step outside of my comfort zone is because I had a bigger purpose. I knew that I wanted to teach and inspire people, and I can't do that just sitting behind a computer all the time. I have to get out there. And when you don't have a bigger purpose, like if you're not connected to why you're doing this, then it's easy to quit on your business and to quit on yourself, right? So that's number 9. Number 10. By the way, I hope that you've been taking notes and really identifying which mindset secret resonates the most with you. I'd like for you to, type into the question box on the webcast and give me some feedback on which one resonated the most with you so far. And I'm going to go with number 10. which is they don't live their lives. They don't live their lives based on what other people think. They don't live their lives based on what other people think. I admire so much Oprah Winfrey and Beyonce. Those are my two big inspirations. Not because, they're super wealthy, which they are. Not because they get to do what they want to do. Like Oprah gets to do everything she wants to do, from lifestyle to inspiration to spirituality. She incorporates all of her interests into her business. And Beyonce gets to do what she was born to do, sing and dance and really impact the world. Those are great reasons to be inspired by those women. But one of the things that I admire so much more than that is the way that as Black women, they've been able to not allow what other people say to dictate how they live their lives. They just do what they want to do, and people have opinions. Everyone has opinions about wealthy Black women. They have opinions about what we say, what we do, how we say it, how we do it, who we're dating, who we're married to, what our kids look like, what the hair looks like, what our belly looks like, did our butt get bigger, how's the hair, that one time that our edges weren't snatched right or they weren't laid properly, and somebody writes a whole article about that. Like, despite all of that, they rise and rise and rise and show us what's possible. And I think that when it comes to being successful as a Black woman entrepreneur, you have to have that same fierceness about you that I was born to do certain things. Like, I'm not here to be liked. I'm not here to be a reality show, negative person either. I'm here to say what I came here to say. I'm here to give a message. I'm here to teach the wisdom that I've been given. And I'm not here to try to make everybody like me. There are some people that they came on this call and they were like, who is this woman? What is she talking about? And they left. Or maybe they're still on here, judging me. And that happens, right? But the majority of people are here, I know, because they want to learn from what I have to say. And that's who I do this work for. If I live my life based on what other people think, I would be running around like a chicken with my head cut off. Like, I wouldn't be able to focus. I would be so worried about what people are writing about me or saying about me, who's talking about me on Facebook. Like, you cannot get caught up in that, because that's not what matters. What matters is that you are fulfilling the purpose that you were created for. You really have to understand that it's important to rise above what's going on. There's a phrase that I have been using a lot with my clients that may support you for where you are right now. And that is that, as Black women entrepreneurs who want to make a big difference in the world, we are in the world, but we're not of the world. And I know that's a spiritual saying that many of you may be familiar with. We are in the world, but we're not of the world, meaning that we have to live in this world of normal people and status quo ideas, and people just waiting to refresh their Facebook screen to find out what Donald Trump said today, and they just live their lives in this reactionary mode, glued to the TV screen or to their iPhone screen, and they're not really worried about what's the bigger picture or the bigger purpose for their lives. That's what the world is doing, a whole bunch of stuff that you or I don't agree with, that we're not interested in. We're in the world, but we're not of the world, meaning we have ideas and gifts and talents that were God-given. I mean, whatever your spiritual beliefs are, you were created for a reason. Like, you were created from God or spirit or the universe, whatever you believe. And you cannot confuse that with what people in the regular world are saying about you. For the most part, all the feedback that I get is great, and that's fine. Good feedback is great, but I don't really pay too much attention to that either. Like, I don't go around thinking that, someone wrote that I'm one of the 50 entrepreneurs to watch in 2017, so that must mean I am. I know who I am despite what anyone says or does not say. And that is the strength that we have to have as successful Black women entrepreneurs, that we're not going to get distracted. by what's going on out there in the world to the point where we cannot do the work that we were created to do. That you get so upset by a comment that somebody put on your Facebook to the point where you're not able to go out there and pour into the women that you're meant to pour into and support. You're not able to fully stand on stage and speak the message that you were given to speak. You cannot let that happen. And it's something that really takes some practice, and you really need to get into a community of women who are in the right mindset so that there's no way you can get caught up in the world, what the world is doing. You stay focused on your path that you were given. I believe that everybody in this world was given a purpose. When you're little, like when you're a little girl, you get a glimpse of what that is, whether it's to be an artist or a motivator, a helper, a maverick, an innovator. Like we all have those traits even from childhood. And what happens is we get so caught up in what someone told us. I remember that I love to read. I'm an introvert. I was a nerd in school. People ask me, why do you read so much? Why do you do this? Why do you do that? That's what I was born to do. I read, I put together ideas, I write, I inspire people through my writing. Books have inspired people from the beginning of time. That's what I'm meant to do. It might not seem like much to you, but I know it's what I'm meant to do. I don't know how it's going to manifest itself when I get older, but I was just committed to it as a child. And so many times as we grow into adults and go through life and work and all those things, we lose that connection to our innate purpose. And it's because we start caring too much about what other people are saying and thinking about us. And it distracts us. So I would definitely encourage you to get to a place where you're surrounded by people who are all living their purpose and not caring what other people think, because it will strengthen you. It will lift you up when you get sucked back into the world. And that's why it's so important to have a community like we have at Happy Black Woman. It's not just an online space. It's not just free webinars and classes and Facebook affirmations. It's really a true community of Black women that has become a sisterhood over the years. We went from just, online to meeting in person. And I want to invite you to our next in-person event. I'll tell you about how you can join us in person, and then I'll open up the line for questions. So if you want to ask a question, you can type it into the question box, and I'll get to as many as I can. Or if you want to do some live laser coaching on the line, you can press *2 if you're on the phone. You can press *2 on the phone if you have a question, and it can be related to any of these mindset secrets. It can be a direct business question, and again, we'll see how many you can get through on the phone if you want to press *2. So press *2 on the phone if you have a question, you'd like some laser coaching as it relates to your business or your mindset or both. If you're on the webcast, you can type your question there. But I do want to let you know that we're about to shut down registration this week for our upcoming Launch Your Business Live 3-day boot camp, and it's happening in New Orleans, April 7th through the 9th. At that event, I will be teaching you the 5 steps to launch your business. To launch, relaunch, or grow your business, actually, because some of you have started your business, but you need some training and support to relaunch it the right way. And right now, you can receive our best pricing with our early bird pricing right now if you go to the website launchyourbusinesslive.com. Launchyourbusinesslive.com is where you can go and read all about it. We have early bird pricing, and we also have a payment plan where you can spread your payment out over 3 months. So you can make 3 payments and have that be more convenient for you if you need it. About half of my clients pay in full and half my clients do payment plans. But if you go to that page, launchyourbusinesslive.com, you'll go to our registration page with all the information about the event. There's a video from last year's event. You can play and watch and see what we do. We learn and we have fun. So I take you through the 5 steps to launch, relaunch, and grow your business this year. And guess what? Step number 1 is get focused. How to transform your mindset and make time for your business. So we kick off our event with mindset work because it's so important to your success in business. Even if you've had a business for a while, but you haven't really made much money and you don't understand why, like this event would be really powerful for you. I teach how to create businesses that are location independent, meaning they can be run from anywhere in the world from your laptop. And it's so important to get focused on that goal so you can achieve it. Step 2 is get clarity. I teach you how to identify your ideal client and find the words to say what you do. Especially those of you that have multiple business ideas and you don't know which one to choose, I take you through a process to decide, like how to decide on one idea and move forward with that. Step 3 is get paid. So how to create products and services that people are willing to pay for. A lot of you have created something, but no one is buying it. And there are definitely some specific reasons why. So I'm going to teach you how to get paid by creating the right programs and products and services for the right type of person, and how to make sure that your pricing, like what you're charging, the amount of money you're charging, and your packaging makes sense. Step 4 is get online. And I really, teach you how to create or improve your website on your own, or how to hire a web designer if you want to do that. Every successful Black woman entrepreneur has a website, okay? No doubt about it. Like there has to be some way for people to find out more about you. Step 5 is get out there, how to promote your business professionally and consistently. So I take you through how to create a low-cost marketing plan so you can start getting progress and results in your business, how to put yourself out there. So it's very brief. I just did a very brief overview of the 5 steps I'm going to be teaching in New Orleans. And you get to choose if this is the time for you to get what you need to be successful. So I'm going to be teaching, as well as some guest speakers. I'm bringing in a few people you might know. Kim Coles from Living Single. She's going to be coming to teach us from her perspective as an actress, a comedian, and a speaker, how to use storytelling in your speaking as you're promoting your business, how to use storytelling and humor and emotion really to inspire your audiences. And she's so good at this. She did a one-woman show and did a little tour, and she had packed rooms of people just coming to hear her speak and inspire them and have a few laughs along the way. So she's going to be teaching us all about that, especially for those of you who want to be speakers and those of you who know you're going to want to use speaking to build your business and your brand and your platform. We also have Natasha Ulrich, who's going to be coming to talk about soulful selling. She's our soulful sales expert, and she's going to teach us how to sell when you hate selling, how to have the right conversations with your potential clients to get them to say yes to what you're offering. And it's going to be powerful for those of you that, again, you have a product or service or an idea for one, but you don't know how to go from that to actually making money. And the missing piece is sales. You have to learn how to sell. And we also have Shayla Boyd-Gill, who is a business coach for family-centered women entrepreneurs. She is going to be talking about how you can structure your business so that you can make great money and still have a great family. And she is a beautiful example of walking your talk, because Shayla has made multiple 6 figures in her business while homeschooling her 6 kids. Yeah, I said 6 kids, and having a great marriage with her husband of 20 years. So she's a great role model for those of us who are like, well, I want to be successful, but I don't want to neglect my family, and I definitely want to have a hubby at some point, or, keep the relationship that I have now with my boo. So we're definitely going to cover that for those of you that want to get some support around that topic. And last but not least, we have our sponsor, Infusionsoft, who's coming to talk about online marketing. It's the biggest way that I've built my business to $1 million in revenue is marketing online. So you're going to learn how to do your email marketing so you're attracting your clients and being able to sell them products and services consistently in your business. So those are some of our speakers. When you buy your ticket, you'll also get entrance to our networking reception, and I love the 80s old school dance party, which I love. Every year we do this party. This is actually our 4th year of doing this event. It only happens once a year in the spring. This is it. There is no next time. It's going to be next year. And you really want to look at whether you want to wait another year before you launch your business. I would not recommend it. So much can happen in a year. So you get a ticket to our networking reception and dance party, and it's going to be so fun. I love getting on the dance floor with all of you and really making business fun, not just, dry networking, handing out business cards, wearing our suits and our pumps, but really having fun and making business what we want it to be. You'll also get a training call with me before the event. So I'm going to get online and all of you are going to come on and introduce yourselves and be able to really get to know the ladies who are coming to the event. And I'm going to teach you how to prepare. A lot of women come to events and they're not prepared. They're not prepared for connecting. They're not prepared for what is available to them. And I want to make sure that you're prepared, right? The last bonus is discounted bring a friend tickets. When you get your ticket to the event, you will be able to bring a friend for just $197. So if you have a friend that wants to come, you can bring them and you guys can split the investment, or however you want to do it. Or you can gift that ticket to them, discounted ticket to them. It's up to you. But a lot of people love to bring. We have a lot of women who are coming, we're about to shut registration down. So this is like not, you don't have, 3 more weeks to decide. The event is in, 3 weeks. So this is like my last invitation, public invitation for those of you who know you need the support. And this is your chance to take a risk and really get what you need with the training. So you get to bring a friend, you get to definitely have our networking reception, and I have another special bonus for those of you who really know you need to work on your mindset as it relates to your money mindset. I have Up-Level Your Money Mindset Masterclass, and you get actually 3 webinar trainings, and you really get to understand where your money beliefs come from, how to rewrite your money story, and how to manifest the money to get whatever you want. And it's really what I've had to do over the past 9 years to take myself from 0 to $60K in revenue with my first business and 0 to $1 million in revenue with my second business. It's, again, not all about the tactics and the strategies. It's about your mindset. And it's just a bonus for those of you to watch and listen in before you even get to the event. Okay? So again, you can go to launchyourbusinesslive.com and learn more about the event. Grab your ticket before we close registration in a few days. All right? If you have any questions about the event, I can answer them in the Q&A box as well if you type it in. All right? All right. So let me just address the questions that I get all the time. And it's, when are you going to do a workshop in my specific city? And that is always the wrong question. Like, first of all, I'm not going to text you and let you know when we're having a workshop in your specific city. The second thing is we don't do events that often throughout the year. So, if you want to wait for something to come to you, you have to wait till next year and then the next year after that. And, I don't live my life by waiting. If there's something that I want to do, I just decide to do it and I figure out how to get there. So if you want to know when something is coming to, your specific city, like that's not the right question. You want to know when is the next event that you can come to, and that's April 7th. And then you decide how you can get there. People, when it comes to learning from mentors and coaches, you want to put yourself in a position where you can learn, not in a position where you're always waiting for something to come to you. You have to be willing to go to the opportunity. So we're gathering dozens and dozens of like-minded Black women entrepreneurs. If you want to be in the room, you got to come to where we are. I don't go to small cities. We go to large cities, and sometimes they're the same, sometimes they're different. I can't tell you what we're going to do next year because we haven't made that plan yet. So what I have for you is New Orleans. That's where we're going this year. And, if you're always waiting for things to come to you, you're going to miss out on a lot of things. So that's the wrong question. And I say that with love, because if I waited for things to come to me, to my city, I would never get the training that I needed. I always have traveled to go and get the support and training and networking that I needed. And it was never a waste of money. It was never a waste of time because I always expanded my thinking. I learned new things and I met people who I still keep in touch with to this day. All right. Okay. So let me go to some questions. Oh, I actually want to just do a few shares from those of you who did post in the Q&A box about what resonated with you from the Mindset Secrets. So, Amishwa says, you're so right about believing in yourself and making it happen. Making a plan to get the seat at the table with the wine or champagne. Pursuing your desires is definitely on point. I love it as number 7 validates my thinking. Thank you. You're welcome, Mishwa. Hope I'm saying your name right. But, honoring your desires, saying yes to your desires is so important because nobody's going to do it for us. I talk to women all the time. They're like, I just single women, right? So I like being single and I've loved being single and I'm loving being in a relationship. But one thing I don't ever do is when I'm single, when I've been single, to wait until I'm in a relationship to get what I want. So I've heard, women say, like, I can't wait until I meet a romantic man so he can bring me flowers. And I'm like, if you want flowers, then buy yourself flowers. Like, I have flowers on my kitchen counter every week. Like, have there been times when my boo bought me flowers? Yes, but he don't buy them every week. I want flowers every week. So I'm going to have them every week. I don't need to wait for someone to deem me worthy enough to buy me flowers or let them make that decision. That's putting my happiness in someone else's hands. If I want flowers, I'm going to have flowers every week. And so honoring your desires is very important as an entrepreneur because if you want something, you're the one that's going to have to make it happen. All right. A couple more shares. Stephanie from St. Louis says, the secret that resonates the most with me is number 1, they put themselves in the game. I've done so much research and gone to several workshops, seminars, courses, only to reinforce what I already know and wind up sharing info in the class to help others. I know I really just need to pull the trigger. However, for some reason, I just don't feel ready. Stephanie, there's definitely some mindset work that you need to do around that. And it may be that you need to get a coach at this time, like a private coach, and make that bigger investment to help with your mindset. It may need to be that you need to go to some therapy. I mean, I believe every woman entrepreneur needs a therapist. I have a therapist. I've had a therapist for a while now. And it's necessary for you to continue to grow and to let go of the old mindset because there's always different things to overcome, right? So another thing that you may need to do is really get yourself into the environment where you have to take action and not just learn, right? Thanks for your share, Stephanie. Kenya from Greensboro says, the mindset secret which really resonated with me was number 1. I have learned so much about myself and I have yet to test the waters and get involved in groups and meet up with other women. Networking is a huge part of becoming an entrepreneur, and I had a network of 0 before joining the Happy Black Woman tribe. Awesome, Kenya. Well, I would say that if you have not registered to come to New Orleans, that you definitely should. It's like the biggest networking that we do when we get everyone together once a year because it is really powerful, the work that we do together. It's not just business training, but we also talk about your mindset, and we also, you're able to get feedback from each other. We put you in pairs and groups, and you have lunch together, and you're doing all these things that create a bond. People have traveled together. Women who have met at our events end up traveling together, doing business together, referring clients for each other. It's really beautiful. And I couldn't even tell you everything that's possible, on this call if I was with you all night long because of all the years we've been doing it. But there's just so much magic that happens that you just have to be in the room. Like you have to, get off the sidelines, get yourself in the game so that you can be there and experience it. Otherwise, you're just sitting and wishing that you had that community, that you had that network, that you had that support. You're not going to get it sitting at home. I've learned that the hard way. All right. I think I'm going to stop there and go to the phones. I saw some hands up. So I am going to start with Missouri. And I'm just going to say the last 4 digits of your phone number. 9389. You're unmuted.
Hi, Rosetta. This is Glenda from St. Louis, Missouri.
Glenda.
How are you?
Cool. Did you have a question, Glenda? I'm great.
Great. Yes, I do. I missed the point on number 4. I have they don't spend, but I didn't get the rest of that. And also, I have already registered for your live event. I believe it was on Thursday, and I went to the email to work on the access, the up level.
Yeah. Okay. So Glenda, if this is a technical question, the best thing to do is to email my team at support@happyblackwoman.com, because I don't have access to the technology part of what you might need. So that's the best thing if you have a technology question. Support at happyblackwoman.com.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, you asked about, what was that mindset secret? And for everyone else that might have missed it too, it was they don't spend, they invest. They don't spend, they invest. And that's the difference between, thinking that everything is an expense and thinking that you're making a real investment in your business. And that's what you want to go for.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Glenda, while I have you on the phone, do you want to share which mindset secret resonated with you the most?
Yes, the one, number 5, they believe in themselves and their worth. I am still working on my belief that my worth and myself, what I have to bring to my business is important. I consider myself a decorator expert, and I'm working on that intrinsic value and my intrinsic worth, and just making and getting an understanding of me, that I do have, something to offer that people need.
Wonderful. Yeah, I love that you know where I love that you know where your areas of improvement are, and you know what you need to work on. Mm-hmm. What made you say yes to registering for the event in New Orleans?
I've taken your program before, the blogging school.
Mm-hmm.
And I met you back in Atlanta at Dr. V's event. And I decided I'm going to take advantage of it. I didn't make it for the last one you did last year.
Yeah.
So I said, okay. And I got a phone call at the last minute from your team.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
That helped.
Great. Well, I'm glad that you'll be joining us, and I'm glad to be a part of your journey to continue to increase your level of self-worth, because it is a journey. And I've just found that when I am surrounded by very powerful women, that I become more powerful in the process.
I believe that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
All right. You're welcome, Glenda. See you soon.
Okay.
All right. Well, I saw another hand, but I don't know where it went. So if you have your hand up, press *2 again, because somehow you're gone. So I'm going to give you a chance to do that. There's another person that had their hand up. You can press *2 again. And go back over to the webcast here. Christy says, can we still make the 3 payments for the New Orleans event? And the answer is yes. You will have to register today, or as soon as possible. I mean, we're closing registration in the next few days. So when you go to Launch Your Business Live, and you click on the green button that says Register Now, Christy, you will be taken to the payment page, and you can choose the single payment or 3 payments. And you'll be able to, put in your information and grab your ticket. One of the things that I find very interesting is when people ask me questions on these calls, and they say, oh yeah, I'm going to register. And then they wait until like a few days before the event, and they're like, I already bought my plane ticket, and now I'm ready to buy my ticket. I'm like, registration is closed. Like, why would you get the information that you need to get your ticket and then not act on it, right? So what I'm saying is that I am telling you guys that the tickets are available now, and if you wait a week from now, that will not be the case. So get your ticket in, get your registration in so that you don't have to worry about whether you missed out. I don't like to miss out on things. Like if I want something, I want to just lock it in and make sure that I can get what I want. When you, again, make yourself wait or procrastinate, there's a very high probability that you're not going to get what you want. And if you want to start becoming the kind of person, the kind of woman that gets what she wants, you have to start taking the action that's going to guarantee that you get what you want. If you want to come to New Orleans, the best way to guarantee that is to get your ticket today or make your first payment today, because we do have a payment plan and you can pay over 3 months. You can make the first payment today, the second payment in 30 days, the final payment in 30 days. So that is how you can do it. All right. Let's see. There's another question here. Mimi from Baltimore. How do you know if the service you're offering is valuable to the marketplace? You may value it, but how do you know if it's valuable to your target market? Well, Mimi, the best way to know if it's valuable is to offer it. If you put it out there to your target market and no one buys it, then it's not valuable to the marketplace. They don't see value in it. Now, that is a very, direct answer to your question. There can be nuances. So if you have not matched up your marketing strategy to your target market or your ideal client, which is what I teach, then you may not be using the right language. You may not have given it the right name. You may not have the right pricing. So that could affect whether people buy it or not. But the only way to really find out is if you put it out there for people to buy. That's really the best way. Like people always say, well, people always ask me, I'm just starting out, should I ask my friends and family what they think to get feedback? And I say, no, the best feedback you can get is a sale. The best feedback you can get is a sale, someone buying your product or your service. That's the kind of feedback that I like. Sales. Put something out there and people buy it. Clearly, I'm on the right track, right? There's so much more we could talk about, Mimi, but that's my direct answer to your question. All right. Okay, I think that our other phone caller is here now and says Florida, last 4 digits, 5353. You're unmuted.
Hi, Rosetta. How are you today?
I am good. How you doing?
I'm great. I just wanted to come on and say thank you for all that you do. So I was driving to work today and frustrated and like, what is the purpose of it all? And I don't know what I want to do. But every time I listen to one of your calls, it's just confirmation that I need to invest in myself and start my own business. I need to start and walk on my own journey. So I just wanted to say that I appreciate you, and I'm glad that you have your business for us.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you. Who is this?
Yeah.
What's your name?
My name's Alicia.
Alicia. Awesome, yeah. Alicia. Well, thank you for joining us, and good luck with everything in your business.
Thank you. You too.
All right. I love just hearing from all of you who are in our Happy Black Woman tribe from all over the country and the world. And I do look forward to seeing many of you in person in New Orleans. It's a beautiful gift to give yourself of opportunity. Stephanie is asking, what's the registration deadline? I know that we're going to be shutting down registration in a few days. I don't know the exact day. I have to, get with my team. But Stephanie, that's the wrong question. The question is, when can you register for the event? Like what is your goal for when do you want to register? And if you can come up with that, you can email my team at support@happyblackwoman.com and they can tell you if you're going to be able to join us or not. So that would be what I would recommend. Like people always ask me, what's the last day? What's the last day to get the discount? What's the last day to do this? Like that's the wrong question. The right question is always, how can you make this happen? Like the deadline doesn't matter if you have no idea how you're going to get the money to invest in the event and your plane ticket and all that stuff that you might need. So that's really the right question is, and no one, the funny thing is, whenever I do these calls, no one ever asks me that question. Because of the way that our mindset is set up, if you haven't done the work on really saying yes to your desires, you don't know to ask the right question. So the right question is always, how can I make this happen? But no one ever asked me that. Seriously, nobody ever comes on these calls and says, Rosetta, how can I create the money for the first payment? And I will tell you, different ways you could do that. So do you have a credit card? Put it on your credit card. That's the easiest, simplest thing. Do you have access to somebody else's credit card? Some people ask their husbands and, they help them, or they ask their friends and they buy the ticket. Like, I can give you very practical answers based in reality and just realness. Like, if I don't have the money for something, I'm going to put it on my credit card. I'm going to go ask somebody that I know for money. Some of my clients have asked people that they didn't know for money. Like, they created a GoFundMe page and they asked for money from their friends, family, and strangers to say, hey, donate to my dream to launch this business so I can help my community, or so I can, do whatever it is that they want to make a difference doing. I have had my clients, my students, to sell things. Like, they've gone on Craigslist and eBay and sold like furniture or clothes that they didn't need anymore or even want anymore. And they got rid of clutter and made money. Like, those are the right questions. And it's hard to know the right questions if you haven't done a lot of mindset work. So that's what I'm giving you today. If I can give you any one last thing, I would say start asking the right questions. Successful Black women entrepreneurs ask the right questions. They don't ask questions based in scarcity, but questions based in abundance. And there's no judgment of any questions that you guys are asking me, but I just want to let you know that there are better questions you could be asking when you get the opportunity to ask someone a question that is more specific, that's going to help you. If you're asking the question because you're trying to get the money together to pay in full, ask the question. I've got $300. How can I make the other money that I need to pay in full? And you can get more practical answers. Like, how did I pay? How did I, when I was, working full time, pay the money to go to all these conferences and network with all these people? And I got known. I got a reputation in my industry. And then people were coming to me, asking me to come and speak. I had met them all over the country at these conferences, and they were $700, $800, $1,200. How did I do that? Practical. My credit card, somebody else's credit card. I asked my boss. I asked my sister. I asked my mom. I asked, could I volunteer? I asked, could I exchange some marketing training for a ticket? I did what I had to do because I was willing to do whatever it took to get what I needed. I got loans. I wasn't afraid to do any of that or take any of those risks because I was committed. And when you're committed, you can do anything, ladies. You can do anything you want to do when you are fully committed. It's not about can you do it or when's the deadline, will you be able to do it? It's a matter of what do I need to do and how can I get that? And just knowing that it's going to happen, knowing that it's already done. It's called faith. And you have to have faith and belief in yourself and your vision and your dreams. And I can tell you, even if you don't have that full faith yet, I have faith in you. I know that you were put here for a reason, or you would not be on this call. You could be doing anything else, but you're here with me. And so I want to thank you for taking the time to be with me. It was awesome talking to all of you, hearing some of your voices, and really connecting with what we have in common. And that is being happy, successful, and free. Have a beautiful rest of your evening. If you want to join us in New Orleans, go to launchyourbusinesslive.com. If you have any more questions after today's call, you can email my team at support@happyblackwoman.com. All right, ladies. Bye for now.
Thank you for joining us on the Happy Black Woman podcast. If you want all the show's notes from today's episode, go to happyblackwomanpodcast.com. Plus, we'll send you a copy of Rosetta's free life mapping workbook. We look forward to empowering you next time. And until then, do something this week that makes you happy.